What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Pitts, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live through the eye of the tiger. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pitts, Coach Bernard Clark Jr., Robert Morris University. It is game day and it is homecoming. Good morning, Coach. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Everything's going well. Good week of practice, trying to get this thing rolling. A little chilly outside. You know how it is for me, but we're gonna be all right.
I told you that. I told you. You said it was good, and I told you we can get snow the very next week.
Yeah, I hope we don't get no snow today. It's supposed to. I think the high is supposed to be 60, so we should be okay.
Oh no, it ain't cold enough for us back home to snow yet.
Yeah. It's just it's Pittsburgh weather, gloomy.
And that is the best weather. So, Coach, let's follow up to what we was, when we spoke Wednesday. Our word of the week, our wow is mentality. How has the team been muddling through and strengthening through as the week has progressed?
Pitts, man, the team's been doing good, man. It's kind of been me, in a situation where I'm just frustrated, by a lot of things, about how we're playing, about how we're coaching, about how things are turning out right now. That's probably with me more than anything else. So I try to get my mentality in the right situation, in the right environment. So I talk to the guys about what mentality actually meant. Mentality is based on what your mindset is, and because your mind is set on one thing, your mentality may be wrong. So we're trying to make sure this week our mind is set on playing fast, being physical, and finishing. We got to make sure our mindset is that in order for us to be that. Also, coaches as well.
Yeah, fundamentally sound mentality. When you say that you're frustrated within the coaching, is it more? It's not preparation. Is it rhythm? Is it like when you say frustrated with the coaches in regards to yourself included? What are you referring to?
Well, when you watch film, when you watch practice, like prime example, Tuesday, we probably had one of the most energetic practices I've ever been around here at Robert Morris University. Our guys were flying around, having a great time, talking noise to each other, the kind of atmosphere I like on a practice field. But then you get back and you watch film, some of the fundamentals are still not being done. And the fits aren't there. The wide receiver isn't running a route the way he needs to go to route. Tight end's not blocking, don't have his feet where he need to be at O-line doing it. So it's the things that we're trying to teach that not getting through to them that's frustrating. Because in order to win football games, like you said, the basic fundamentals have to be there. But for some reason, we're not getting through to them to help them understand that these things need to be done in order for us to win football games. So it's frustrating as a coach to watch these things, to see your guys flying around, giving unbelievable effort, but the basic fundamental things are still not happening the way we need them to happen. That's frustrating because as a coach, that's what wins football games.
Absolutely. And not only that, it leads to early season mistakes that should have been eradicated, right?
Exactly.
When you talk about the route running, or when you talk about lane gap assignment, defensive lineman, or you talk about the running backs, hitting the right hole or reading in his blocks or that, those are things, when you talk about, for me, I tell people, when it comes to football, especially when you talk NFL talk, I don't really judge until the first couple of weeks have passed, right? Because that continuity got to build back up, especially depending on, the re-establishment of your team, such as yours, where you had a new influx of incoming players and coaches. So that continuity has to be re-established, right? Because the foundation that you did have is no longer. When it comes to the base, you are the foundation as the head coach. Let me rephrase that. You are the foundation, but the building blocks to sustain the foundation has changed. So, and therefore, that continuity is important, especially not just in coaches, but as we spoke before, offensive line, right? Games are won in the trenches.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about the offensive line, I love how you put it last episode, is that, they've been coming together. They've been playing well. So it says that the continuity is beginning to be established. It's like you said, the mental lapse of fundamental and playing outside the scheme of the whatever the preparation that was done all week.
This is why we do this, Pitt, because you know exactly where I'm coming from, Pitts. There's no doubt about it. Because of the simple fact that that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the basic fundamentals of footwork, the basic fundamentals of hat placement. Even when you're going to make a tackle, am I grabbing cloth? Am I making sure my feet are under me? Am I reaching? All those things come into play when the quarterback's throwing the ball. Is he following through? Is he putting it on the target? Or the wide receiver putting their hands out? Or running backs putting their hands out and catching with the triangle that everybody talks about, or catching with the U that everybody talks about. Just making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. So the basic fundamentals are still just coming along, but not coming along fast enough. So as a coach, when you sit back and you watch practice and you watch game film, you see those basic fundamentals not being done on a consistent basis, you get kind of upset with yourself more than anything else, because as a coach, you want to be able to pull that out of them. I always tell people, me and my coach didn't have to be the best of friends. We didn't have to do anything, but I wanted to make sure he understood I wanted to play for him. And to me, the biggest compliment you can give any coach is for go to a coach and say, hey, man, what you did, I wanted to play for you. I would run through a brick wall for you. Those things are complimentary to me, and I'm not sure we're reaching them yet when it comes to that. Now, again, the continuity and our guys' camaraderie, it's unbelievable, man. I've never seen a team get along so well. These guys are great together. They do spend a lot of time together. It's outstanding. But at the same time, it hasn't translated to the field the way I'd like for it to translate to the field on a consistent basis. And it's not about the wins and the losses. I told those guys, it's not about the wins and the losses. Even in the season where we didn't win a game, I still thought our guys were listening to what we do. They just weren't good enough to win the football game. Right. So those are the things I'm talking about. It's not about winning and losing, because there's always learning and losing. And you're trying to learn some things, but as you go back and you're trying to figure this thing out, that's the frustrating part for me as a coach.
And especially, like you said, man, when you're talking about the basics of the fundamentals, it's hard to implement new schemes, and it's hard to implement the plays that you know that could work when, you know, the 1 of 11th isn't doing their actual assignment to either, you know, to beat, you know, because when it comes to route running specifically, that's a timing situation between 3 phases: your line, your quarterback, and your receiver.
Yes.
Right. So if one of those is misaligned, then the play then gets distorted, or now you have to what we call playground. Now you gotta come up. You gotta run around and try to make things happen. When how do you coach that up when those are essentially the basics of the position in itself, and still and not take away from the continuity or the excitement that they have, but still trying to reinforce that, hey, the basics are the basics. We can't lose the basics. Keep everything else, but still stick to the basics.
So I think it goes down to individual. When you have individuals and the guys are in, you have to work on those things individual. Now you have to watch throughout practice and see if they're implementing those things into teamwork. So that's the thing that's most important. So our coaches are concentrating on the things that we need to concentrate on when we're in the individual, whether it's tackling, whether it's foot placement, whether it's hat placement, whether it's running the route and leaning back into the defender so you can get that leverage on him. Those are the things that we're working on in individual. So our coaches understand exactly where we need to be at. And I'm watching around and they're implementing those things. Now we just got to make sure they're consistently done. I'm not saying they're not being done. Don't get me wrong. Right. They are being done. They're just not consistently being done to where that we're in a situation where, oh, this is going to be taken care of. This is going to be taken care of. And obviously it's a football game. There are going to be times that a guy's going to get beat. You know, there's going to be times that a guy's not going to be able to do his job, but he can't not do his job on a consistent basis. So that's the thing that we're looking for, the consistency of the fundamentals that we're putting in.
So, you know, as the week has progressed, and I know you said you was frustrated with the energy is there. So for today, what is our focus? You know, what are we re-emphasizing, you know, once we get into the locker room before our pregame, when we get out there, you know, what's our message to the players today?
Well, the other thing I told the guys is this. They have to understand that they're big enough, they're strong enough, they're fast enough, athletic enough. That's why we have them here to play the position that they're playing. So you have the ability to get it done. It's not about your ability. So you need to understand is that why you told us about it at the beginning of the year, you know, you told us why you do this, that has to come to fruition right now. Because that's why you're pushing yourself. That's why you have that drive to be a great football player. Now, that why is throughout your life. And that's why I help these guys trying to understand. We always talk about better men, better husbands, and better fathers. The same drive and the same why you had pitched back when you played football is the same drive and the same why you have right now. That's the most important thing to you. If it's your family, then that's why you're doing it. If you're playing for your family, if you're doing that. So my message to them is, let's go back to our why. Let's understand why we're doing this. And why we're doing it at 100% and at a level that we want to be competitive at and the level we want to win at, because that's the most important thing. It's not about playing for the coach. It's not about this. It's about playing for your teammate. It's about playing for your why and putting yourself in a position to be a great football player and play a great game. Now, you may do all those things. We still may not win. That's fine. But if I can go back and watch tape and see you giving it your all consistently on a play after play after play basis, then I'm going to be excited about the game. If I don't see that, Win or lose, it doesn't make a difference. I want to make sure that we're getting across to them the things that are important, because it goes back to what I always talk about: becoming a better man, a better husband, and a better father. Because those basic fundamentals and building blocks, like you said, that's how it starts. That's how life starts. That's how football starts. That's how, in general, things go throughout life.
Developing that mental toughness, that mentality, which is our wow, is one of the key components of defeating the odds, right? Because, there are going to be times in life where we may have to deviate from what our foundational purposes are.
Mm-hmm.
But the deviating for that temporary purpose, not permanently, because then to where it becomes more of a happenstance, where now it becomes our new normal.
Absolutely.
That mental breakthrough and saying, I got jammed. I didn't expect to get jammed on that last route. So I had to deviate from my original principles and foundation. Now, seeing that, I have to adjust, right? I have to now, overcome what just happened mental, right? That mental lapse, like we always talk about, football is more mental than it is physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, deviating but not staying away, making it a new normal is different. And
Absolutely.
when you talk about the foundation got you this far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we get to a level because it got us this far. And a lot of times I think that in human nature, we limit what got us here because we feel that it's not going to keep getting on. It's a building block, right? You build on it. You learn new tricks this way, but that doesn't mean the foundation or the basic
Mm-hmm.
principles has to change.
Yeah, 100%. And I always tell the guys, exceptional is not, it's not something that's not reachable. Person that's exceptional, this is an example of what you can be if you put yourself in position to make those things happen. And I think exactly what you're talking about. Our guys have to understand, it goes back to our word of the week, mentality. But the mindset has to change too.
Yeah.
Again, when we talk about fast physical fitness, like I was talking about earlier, the mindset has to change. Now, once your mindset changes to exactly what you were just talking about, now my mentality changes because I understand I have to do something different. You can't become comfortable. And you and I talk about it all the time, man. Getting comfortable is the worst thing you can do as a football player, as a person. Once you start getting comfortable, it's hard to get out of that comfort zone because it feels unnatural to you, when change has to be something that's natural. And we talk about it, change is inevitable, but growth is a choice. So you got to
Yeah.
grow with those changes, but that mentality has to change. So that's the thing I'm going to emphasize with these guys, make sure they understand. The word of the
Yeah.
week is not just the word of the week because it's there. It's
Yeah.
something we have to carry throughout the rest of the year because our mentality has to be better.
And and at times comfort equals complacent, right?
Absolutely.
When we become comfortable, we become stagnant. We're
Mm-hmm.
no longer growing because we are comfortable. We are okay with where we are because of whatever X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely. And probably the best way of, Romans 12:2, says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So
Yeah.
once you understand that my mindset has to change, the renewing of my mind
Yeah.
has to happen in order for me to be the player that I really
Yeah.
want to be. Like you said, it's the same thing, but it's the same thing at a higher level. And
Yeah.
making sure you understand that. It's no different. You're asking a defensive lineman to make sure he maintains the A gap.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to get off the ball and get penetration just faster this time. You're playing against a different opponent. Got to make sure you use your hands, use this. So there's different techniques, but it's the same thing that you're asking them to do, just at a higher pace.
Yes, sir.
So yeah,
So I feel like today, for me, coach, I was bumping T.I., and I'm on my, with he's like, your self-esteem gone because the king that. Let's see if we can teach how to act now.
I hear you. I hear
Hey,
you. I
listen.
hear you.
So what we bumping this morning in the locker room before we
You
go
know,
out there, coach?
it's so
Because
crazy,
I'm
man.
ready. I think I got a little juice left.
It's so crazy. I was listening to a podcast earlier this week, and Killer Mike was on there, a guy who I love to listen talking.
Yeah.
Brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. And he started talking about my guy, man, that I absolutely love. And all the players like, Coach, he's an actor. No, bro, he's a rapper. Ice Cube. And I love Ice Cube.
Yes.
So I was
I
listening to
saw that.
bumping America's Most Wanted a little bit, man.
Take them back some.
the
They
brother you
need
love, the brother you
that,
love to hate. You know what I'm saying?
that was rugged. They need some of that rugged rough. That we don't need to be simulated. And Ice Cube, he a pioneer in so many ways. And I definitely know what you're talking about. I did listen to that particular that clip as well, and everything that
Yeah.
he spoke about Ice Cube, was paramount in what he has done and how he has transcended from being a gangster rapper to an entrepreneur, to a movie producer, to an actor, you know, to an entertainer all around, and now to the big three. You know, when you
Yep,
talk about it, he has his hands in so many, and he's showing you that it's okay to transform. It's okay to not be comfortable. It's okay to not sit in that same position you was years ago and think that you have to stay there because that's how you were, and that's how you introduced yourself to the world. But you know what hasn't changed? His basic principles.
absolutely, absolutely. His drive, his why.
Absolutely.
None of those
Yeah.
things have changed because he's still doing it for the same reason. He
Yeah.
still loves what he's doing. And that's
Yep.
the other thing you can never let happen. I heard a guy say this: never let your dream become a distraction.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys get caught up in, I'm trying to get to the league, trying to get to the league. Yeah, all that's fine and dandy,
It's a
but
distraction.
you still have to do the fundamentals of what needs to happen now in order to get there, because it becomes a distraction from your dream. And you can't let your dream ever become a distraction from your ultimate goal of where you need to be at and where you're trying to go. Again, it goes back to your mindset has to change at times. You can't get so caught in the habits that you used to do in the coach, so caught in the conditions of what you're doing or what where you grew up at, and this is how we do things. No, man, that's not it at all. Your mindset has to change in order for your mentality to work the way you want it to work, and that's the most important thing. So, my man, Cube, America's Most Wanted Death Certificate. Those are two of my favorite albums by him, man. So it's one of those. Hey, I said albums. I ain't say CDs. I ain't say.
Right. They
I
don't know
said
nothing about that,
albums.
coach. They don't know nothing about that.
I said
It's
cassettes, cassette tapes. You know how it is. But yeah, so that's what I'm bumping this morning, man. Because it's not, when it comes to Ice Cube, it's not so much about the music as it's about what you just said, where he's brought himself from and how he's made himself morph in so many different ways, but still have the basic principles of what's important.
it's his mentality.
Absolutely, 100%.
Let's go. It's homecoming. Robert Morris University. Coach Bernard Clark Jr. through the eye of the tiger. It's your boy Pitts. It's Coach. Y'all know what it is. It's going down. They got Central Connecticut on the schedule today. Let's go ahead, eat them up, and let's get back into that good old conference play. This is last year's. Let's take them out. Let's get ready for next week. It's homecoming. Let's end this with a dub. Go ahead, Coach. Let's take us out like
Let's
you
make it happen, man. Again, we got to make sure our mentality where it needs to be at. We got to be on top of things and make sure we're working. And let's go, Bobby Moe.
Y'all heard it here, man. This game day. This Robert Morris University football. This through the eye of the tiger. This Coach Bernard Clark Jr. I'm Pitts. Y'all know what it is. Get down. If you in the city, make your way down to Robert Morris University to Bobby Moe. Let's get it done. Colonials on top. That's what we're looking for. Peace.